What's going on, everyone? Today we have the RTX 5070 Ti. This is the gaming OC version of the card by Gigabyte. And today we'll be pairing it with a 9800X3D with 32 gigabytes of RAM. The only thing I want you to do is just hit that subscribe button. Let's jump into the game. All right, what's going on, everyone? We got the 5070 Ti here, and we are going to check out Borderlands 4 at widescreen. So we're at 3440 by 1440p. Just going to see kind of how this game runs at this resolution with some different settings. We're going to go through all of them like we normally do and check it out, you know, kind of head to toe and see what we can expect with all the different combinations of DLSS and frame gen and all that kind of stuff. So if you do get something out of this, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Let's get into it. All right, so this is very low settings, so just totally bottomed out. I'm not doing any upscaling, and there's no frame generation currently operating at the moment. So let's just keep going. Okay, so we don't really want to use a 5070 Ti to play it low. Let's see what we can do here. All right, so let's just keep going up. All right, so we're going to go up to medium. As you can see, nothing here has been activated. It's still full resolution, no frame gen, and we're using NVIDIA's boost technology. I've turned it on and off. It does not have any significant impact whatsoever on the frame rate. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, we're at 67, 65 FPS here on medium. So, you know, it's already looking like when we go up to high, we're going to need some DLSS, but we're going to check it out all the way through badass and then go back to where we needed some DLSS and just keep going from there. All right, so looks like going up to high may indicate that we need some upscaling help. All right, yep, we do. Okay, so 54, 53. I like to try to, you know, see what it looks like before any upscaling, and then kind of turn on upscaling when you need to stay above 60. So right here in the mid 40s up to 50, you know, our PCL is around 40 milliseconds, which that's good. Anything under 50 is what I kind of like to shoot for. But yeah, I mean, the main thing is just you're going to probably have to use aggressive upscaling. And hopefully not have to use any sort of, you know, frame generation. I totally nerfed that. Frame generation that, you know, wouldn't be anything other than just like nice to have. That's the goal here, at least. That's the hope, I should say. So very high, I'm going to apply that. So very high runs at, let's see here, 46 FPS, so not even 50. PCL's at 45 milliseconds, starting to get a little bit close to that 50 that I like to shoot for, staying under at least. So 48 milliseconds here, or 48 milliseconds, yeah, and then 40 FPS. All right, so 44, let's go up here. It tends to run a little worse up here on this mountain for some reason. I'm not sure if it's got something to do with this light up here with like lumen, but yeah, it kind of dips right around here. So 47 FPS, 49 FPS. All right, so let's just keep going, chew through some of these different settings, see what we can expect. All right, so badass setting with absolutely no help whatsoever. So there's no upscaling and no frame generation, and that gives you 32 FPS on a 5070 Ti. So yeah, this is running the latest patch. Doesn't seem like anything has necessarily improved any, you know, in any significant way from when this title was launched. So yeah, we're probably going to have to turn on some DLSS. So let's just do that now. Let's go back to, let's go down to quality and then go back to low and just see what we can expect here. Just going to run through all these again. So that gives you about 115 FPS if you are into potentially, you know, doing any sort of competitive play. This would be a decent setting if you're on this resolution. Gives you 23 milliseconds of response time and over 100 FPS. Looks a little flat, but honestly, the whole game's art style doesn't really scale like in any sort of like, you know, majestic way when it comes from like low, medium, high. They all start to look the same to me, but yeah, on low you can definitely tell the textures and stuff are super flat. You know, I mean, this is definitely a super low fidelity setting right here. So we're just going to keep on going. Now that we have DLSS activated, we're just going to see what medium looks like. And this is kind of where it freaked out on me last time. It didn't do it this time. Okay, so medium settings still gives you around 100 FPS, and the PCL is staying nice and low, 25 milliseconds. This gives it a little bit more fleshed out look. but still keeps your PCL pretty low. So again, if you are a competitive player, this might be a setting to look for. But you know, this game really just doesn't run that well on any hardware that I tend to throw at it that would justify the cost of that hardware. So I feel like it is definitely the game for sure that just needs some work. But yeah, let's just keep on going. That's kind of beating a dead horse. Everybody kind of agrees that this game doesn't run that great, but you know, we're just seeing what we can expect. That's kind of the point of these, is just to show you, you know, hopefully before you spend a bunch of cash on something, what you can get out of it. I have tried to spend that cash for you so you can see it before you go down there and buy your hardware. So if you appreciate that, a sub would be super grateful. And yeah, let's just leave it at that. I don't want to beg for subs, but you know, if you feel inclined, this would be a great time to hit that button. So anyway, yeah, 83 FPS here in this corridor, kind of closed off area. So yeah, we're looking like 80 FPS. Still looks kind of nice. You know, the high setting, I hate to give this game much credit, but the high setting does start to look a little bit better, especially with quality DLSS. So let's just jump over here to very high. Go ahead and apply that and come back down. All right, so 70 FPS here. So still above 60. PCL goes up to 34 though. You know, or it's just kind of, you know, it's hanging around 30, 32. Not too bad though. I mean, anything, like I said, under 50 is pretty decent. 70's up here. It's a good sign. You know, all things considered, this title should be running a little bit better, but you know, that's just what we're dealing with right now. But 70 FPS on this title is unfortunately good. That's just all I got to say about that. But yeah, we're looking like 67. So let's go up to badass. All right, so badass on quality. Still not over 60 with quality DLSS activated. What would it take though? So there is a 60. It's just not a, it's not a stable above 60. It's not anything that you can like hang your hat on. But your PCL's kind of nice. It's still around 34 FPS here. All right, so let's just come through this kind of enclosed area, give you a little bit of environmental change, see what you can expect there. But yeah, we're looking like 60s, right around it at least. Not a high 60, but around 60. All right, I'm just gonna kind of jump over these pipes and head on back outside, which is kind of, you know, where it dips down a little bit. Obviously, you've got some more assets you got to load in because the view distances are further and all that stuff. All right, so let's just keep it on badass and go down to balanced and see what we can expect here. So badass balanced does give you 62 FPS. So it gets it above 60 a little bit more. PCL went, well, PCL kind of hanging around 30s, so that's not bad. All right, so let's just jump in and see what we can do. I didn't mean to click that. All right, so badass balanced. Let's come back down, go to very high. Just kind of work through all of these different settings just to see what would be a decent setting. So that helped our PCL out by going down a hair. So we are looking like 31 FPS with 82, 85 FPS. This wouldn't be a bad setting really if you're, you know, don't want to do any frame generation because you're comfortably above 60 and your PCL is nice and responsive, and you're only coming off of badass. You're still at very high and it still looks, you know, I mean, to me they all kind of look the same other than like low and maybe medium, but anything high, very high, and badass, they all kind of start to look kind of the same. That's just my personal observation. I might not be like super acute to like what exactly to look for in this title, but you know, it all pretty much just looks like kind of basic cartoony graphics with black outlines, and it just runs worse when you slide it up higher. That's kind of the gist that I'm getting. But let's just keep on going and go down to high. So this is high settings again on DLSS balanced. That gives you 35 milliseconds of response time, 32, 30, 29, so we're in the 20s on response time, 88 FPS, 89. And again, it still looks about like very high did. I don't see like a huge difference between these upper level settings. So it's probably got just something to do with more intense lighting that, you know, can make some sort of impact depending on where you're at. But, you know, for me, this is kind of my setting. I'll just play on high with DLSS balance turned on, and that way you've got a nice PCL set to 28, you know, under 30 most of the time. And then you got 81 FPS, which is plenty for me. I mean, anything over 60 is generally fine. But yeah, let's keep going. See what we can expect from medium. So we're going to go medium, then come back in here and go with 107 FPS. So we're over 100. PCL's down to 25. Medium don't look bad. It's definitely a lot better looking than low. Low is the only one I can like really tell a big difference between. It's just like the way the textures and stuff are handled. But oh, I died. No, don't die. Don't die. Go up. There we go. Thank you. I'm back. All right. Did not hit the V key. I hit the C key. But yeah, there's 100 FPS. Yes, it looks good. Got a little bit of detail flicker in some of these cracks. Nothing too terrible though. Definitely something I could live with. So let's just keep going. Go into options and come down to low. So this is low settings. And we're going to just keep on trucking. So we have 121 FPS on balanced DLSS with low settings. Again, this is incredibly flat. It definitely loses a lot of detail on low, but you do get a significant performance boost with this, you know, of course, using some upscaling. But yeah, you're at 22 milliseconds, so this is a nice competitive setting. I mean, things feel really good here. I'm not on a high polling mouse by any means, but you know, I can tell that it's super responsive. All right, so let's just keep going and jump over to potentially, let's check out performance on low. Just kind of go through all these different settings. So this is performance on low, and that gives you 130 FPS, and we are looking like still PCL around 23. Now we are definitely losing a little bit of detail in some of these cracks, especially the ones far in the distance, like right out here as that shadow kind of creeps away. You can kind of see some flickering in these little cracks right here. But again, is it something you can live with? Me personally, yeah, that wouldn't be that big of a deal to me. Especially for the performance that I'm getting. The PCL is the main thing that I like in a first-person shooter like this. I like for it to be really snappy. I want to see what's on the screen immediately when I move my hand, and that's definitely what is happening right now on this particular setting. So, yeah, we've got 127 FPS though, so that's fine. All right, so let's just keep going up. We're going to go up to medium. Go ahead and apply that. Come back. Alrighty, so 107 FPS, definitely got a little bit of visual improvement. 25 on our PCL, 25 milliseconds, and we are at 115, 114 FPS. Now inside these areas, it does go up a little bit. Obviously, you just have a little bit easier time to run things. So you see about a 10 FPS swing between the interior areas and the exterior areas. That's been kind of what I've noticed as I've played through this game. So when you're outside, it drops about 10% or about 10 FPS. In this case, roughly 10% maybe. But yeah, it's just because you're loading in stuff like way in the distance where you don't have that on the inside areas. All right, so let's just keep going and go up to high. So this is high performance. I did not apply that. Let me make sure I apply that. Okay, so high performance. And let's see, drop down to 95, still got a nice PCL. This looks really good. I mean, normally performance at 1440p does seem to look a little blurry on most titles, but again, this game has such black lines around everything with a lot of contrast already that the art style does tend to help it not look, you know, like anything's necessarily wrong, other than like more flickering and stuff in the smaller cracks and the smaller details, especially those dark black lines like right through here. It just flickered quite a bit right there. But again, you know, for the performance uptick until this game gets fixed, that's not a bad idea. If they ever do fix it, doesn't really sound like they're wanting to. So yeah, we're Pitchford just really is digging his heels in. So I don't know what to expect from that. But yeah, we're looking at a 96, 95 FPS here. 28 milliseconds, so let's just keep going up. All right, so very high. Let's go ahead and apply that. And let's keep trucking. All right, so 84, 82 FPS. let's see, 31 milliseconds, 30, still really good PCL. Yeah, I mean, performance is not a bad way to play it if you don't mind the slight flickers in the really tiny details. Again, this game is, you know, such a it's a heavily stylized game, and that in this particular case, again, tends to help it out a little bit. All right, so 28 milliseconds on our PCL though, that's pretty good. 80 FPS here, still looking really decent. Let's go up to badass. So badass might be doable on performance DLSS. Yeah, so we have 37 milliseconds, and it looks like our FPS is staying decently high enough to justify the setting. I hate that you have to go all the way to performance, but again, you know, the game itself is just yeah, it's just the state of the game at the moment. You can enjoy it if you get pretty aggressive with some upscaling though. All right, so what we need to do next is check out some frame generation, and it won't be as exhaustive because if you're already well above, you know, well above like 60 FPS, it's pretty good to just go ahead and kick it on from that point forward. So right here I'm going to go with badass quality, and I'm just going to see where we were just as like a recap, because we were at 56 FPS, and now remember outside it runs a little bit lower. Interior spaces tend to run a little bit higher, so you could potentially frame generate from here as long as it doesn't negatively impact our PCL too badly. So we're just going to go 2x. Our reflex is on. Whenever you turn that off from on, it gets rid of boost. Is what I'm trying to say. It's very late. I'm trying to cognitively get through this. But yeah, 2x just gets rid of the boost, so the reflex is on. So we'll see what happens. All right, so not good. Our PCL went up to 65, or actually it kind of dropped down. Maybe the NVIDIA stuff didn't kick in until just now, because I would love to say that it helped. But yeah, we're still about 53 FPS, 92. I mean, not FPS. 52 milliseconds of PCL and 100 FPS here on the badass setting with quality DLSS. So this is not feeling quite right though. The frame generation is definitely, like, I can just tell. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but yeah, I can just kind of tell that it is generating frames. Definitely does not feel as good as performance did without frame generation. So what I'm probably going to do is, if you want to run badass, come down here to balance. I just want to see what this feels like, because that's going to get our base frame rate up high enough to maybe help with that PCL. It still feels a little sloppy. Definitely not something that I would want to play the whole game like this by any means. So I would probably honestly just run the whole thing at performance with maybe a 2x, because that gave us 60 FPS, and it does feel a little bit better, but it's still not as good as having reflex with boost turned on. So my recommendation for this title would probably be to play like this. I would come in here, I would just say that performance DLSS on that very high setting was likely the best thing, and then reflex on boost is way better than any sort of frame generation. So I would probably play it just like this. I would just get rid of badass, because it's not very badass to me. It makes it run pretty poorly, and that gives you 100 FPS and a PCL of 28, and this feels way better than the fake 100 plus with the NVIDIA boost or with NVIDIA reflex just turned on without the boost. With the boost feels so much more responsive, and you can tell there in the PCL. I mean, it's pretty low, and if you really wanted a lower PCL, you could even go down to like high, and probably get it sub 30 most of the time. Let's go ahead and apply that. So we're looking like 26 milliseconds there with 89 FPS, 90 FPS. So I mean, this is probably how I would play it. You know, the performance DLSS is good enough to me. With the little flickering lines in the background, it's not bad at all. But yeah, once you turn frame generation on and it gets rid of the boost and it just turns reflex on, it kind of negates any sort of positive that the frame generation can do. It just doesn't feel that great. And it's just a feeling that, you know, kind of, it's hard to describe on a you know, YouTube video, but it's just something that you feel. It just doesn't feel great. And yeah, the boost is definitely worth it. I would leave that on no matter what. But yeah, we are just going to wrap it up here. And again, if you like this video, please consider subscribing. Every little bit helps. And yeah, we will see you guys in the very next video. Peace.